Hello there. Welcome to Tilted Consciousness. Just want to check in and see how you doing. How's life? How is the world feeling to you? As if we can really understand, but what in the world is really going on? Just been thinking a lot about connection. Just been thinking a lot about reality. Been trying to take ownership for my life, whilst at the same time recognizing that I can just accept myself for who I am and what I do in my world and the impact I have on others. Seems to be very difficult to accept opposing opposites nowadays. We're being thrust in one direction or another. Or we're feeling like sometimes it's life or death. Or we're so disconnected from our true nature that will believe the untruths or the deceptions within ourselves. Will so readily believe the narratives built in pain or shame or fear. And we're so quick to judge and cut off and dismiss anything that we're looking at that reminds us of our pain or is often a projection of our pain or suffering. I wonder if we really saw the world, if we could really, truly see the truth or the simplicity of human nature, almost like we were another species watching in, sort of like a snow globe. If we could watch the human race, like, let's just say someone from outer space could sit there and watch and see, kind of just watch this species in a snow globe, and if they could see us and determine something, they could probably see things outside of our emotions, our mental abstractions, our confusing logic, our desire for certainty, our desire for survival, our desperate need to prove ourselves or to prove why we're here. But without all that, what are we? What are we? What is our purpose as humans? Might it just be connection? Might it just be to develop our consciousness? There was this interesting theory proposed by this conspiracy theorist in some way, but also just open thinker who Joe Rogan interviewed him. He talked about this theory about how, what if all planets started off like Earth, And then the further they got away from this Goldilocks zone of life-sustaining oxygen and habitable temperatures and stuff like that, a planet reaches a point where it starts to people, right? It just naturally, like a flower blooms, it starts to just, people start to form. And the further from that Goldilocks zone a planet travels, there arises a necessity for those races to develop technologies to be able to survive the climate or the inevitable consequences of that planet leaving its sort of soft Goldilocks ideal state. So then it's kind of like whether or not that human race survives is irrelevant, because it's kind of about the pursuit of some sort of technology or some sort of pass or fail test. Kind of just made me think about what the hell is actually going on. Not that we could even really ever tell, but it gets you kind of curious, I suppose. But if we could perceive the human race differently, from a new lens, not through the lens of our pain, not through the lens of all these politics and dramas and all these assumptions about what we think we know about people and the person in front of us. I guess it sort of brings the idea forth, what if we're wrong about everything? What if everything that we believe to be true is but a fragment, but a small piece of a much grander reality? And I believe we're starting to learn more about this. If you look to many podcasts, but Lex Friedman interviews a quantum physicist who talks a lot about black holes and matter and string theory and all the stuff that I just do not understand because I don't study quantum physics. But I think the simple takeaway is reality is not quite what we believe it to be. And it's starting to get clearer and clearer how little we actually understand about the nature of the universe and what this third dimension really even is, possibly, if we could guess. And how much more we truly have access to, which is really the big piece, which I think kind of in a way connects all the dots existentially. If all these questions and all this uncertainty truly isn't just random chaotic series of happenings, but it's all just a sequence that's orchestrated. And, you know, ever since the first point of quote-unquote contact with itself and when the universe happened, right, the Big Bang, everything just sort of ripples out and continued to ripple out. And yes, it breeds more chaos, but the chaos is a kind of unified chaos. And there's sort of an inevitable life and death cycle that we're all following, not just as humans, but as energetic beings, as galaxies, as universes, as dimensions, as they all sort of intersect. And then we have a kind of purpose, right? My first rambling, one might say, my first sort of observation was just about struggling and fighting and searching for purpose. Seems to take up so much bandwidth. For very good reasons, by the way. It's deeply healing when you find a purpose. But it doesn't mean that it's the end all. If your human mind conceptualizes a purpose and finds a way to orient itself around that, you're going to feel a lot of things in this experience of life. It's going to pull you towards a lot of realities that I would say are quite beautiful and unified. That being said, what if there's something that just doesn't need you to discover it, that exists in itself as a kind of larger purpose? Doesn't require you to understand it fully, but maybe just to observe it and be present and open to it. The great mystery, we call it, in some spiritual worlds, in the indigenous philosophy and sort of the New Age, plant medicine, spirituality world, the great mystery, gran misterio. And that we don't have to really, we don't have to get it. In fact, we can't understand it. We might never understand it. But we can turn towards it and bring ourselves closer to it on a deeper level, on a core level, which has nothing to do with the mind. In fact, the mind is just getting in the way. The mind is just searching for self-preservation. The mind is just searching for earthly pleasures and helping the ego maintain control. It's almost like the more you use your mind, the more you're perpetuating a narrative of control over the universe, over existence, over life and death, things which you really can't control at all. So I leave you with this, my friend. Breathe fully and deeply. Notice the moments in between thought. And don't allow yourself to be governed by the fear and the delusions and the ideas that are simply just the mind trying to control you. Be open. Learn what the heart is. Learn what the heart is capable of. And remain curious. May you find your power, my friends. May you take care of yourself and be well. In this life and always. Thank you. Hoichka.